Hey guys, welcome back to Hockey Hub. Today we'll talk about why Gary Bettman is a terrible NHL commissioner. Let's head into it. Number 8. His public persona. Boo! Oh hey, listen to that. It's the sound of Gary Bettman walking onto the ice to crown a new champion and invite its captain to hoist the Stanley Cup. The fact is that, away from the public, Bettman is actually a rather charismatic, insightful, and humorous guy. But as a de facto face of the NHL for the past 25 years, his very presence inspires Pavlovian jeering, which frankly is by design, as the hired lightning rod for the owner's unpopular whims. That said, he's probably the second most popular commissioner, behind NBA's Adam Silver, of the 4 major pro sports leagues. Number 7. The cancelled season. It doesn't matter what benefits it eventually yielded, or how Bettman and his supporters frame it as a necessity for the league's current health. The 2004-2005 lockout was the first time a major pro sports league in North America lost an entire season to a labor dispute, and the first time that the Stanley Cup wasn't awarded since 1919, when then a 2-year-old NHL had to cancel the finals because of a flu outbreak. Of course, the same owners who signed off on this embarrassment spent the next several years raising salaries and circumventing the cap they fought to establish, such as with backdiving contracts that Bettman retroactively punished in the 2013 collective bargaining agreement. Number 6. His stance on CTE. Bettman's legacy on the NHL's concussion crisis will likely be cemented when the massive lawsuits facing the league are either tried or settled. What is settled is that Bettman continues to deny a link exists between chronic traumatic encephalopathy or CTE and concussions, either scientifically or causally, when the NFL is willing to admit a link between football and CTE, but Gary Bettman refuses to do so in his sport. That's a terrible look for hockey. There might be legal reasons for him to do so, but this denial of accepted science is Neanderthalic. Number 5. Botching the 1994 lockout. While the NHL was initially lauded for gaining a series of concessions from the players, history shows the NHL Players Association as the victor in this brutal, contentious lockout that ended on January 11, 1995. How contentious? Chris Chelios suggested that a crazed fan or player might seek to get Bettman out of the way. Bettman responded by hiring a bodyguard for himself and his family, especially when one considers how the NHLPA boss, Bob Goodenow, and the players managed to avoid the implementation of a salary cap whose potential existence was a prime reason Bettman was hired from the NBA. Imagine if Bettman had prevailed then. Perhaps the 2004-2005 season would have survived. Number 4. Failures on inclusiveness. No amount of pride tape on stick blades changes the fact that Bettman's NHL has been inconsistent on social issues, especially not when the commissioner himself equates chants of Katy Perry at Corey Perry to calling a goalie a sieve, and the NHL fails to suspend Ryan Getzlaf for a homophobic slur because it's a playoff game. Meanwhile, the leagues have struggled with the mixed messages for female fans. Ice girls remain a thing, and with changing the demographics of who watches and plays the game, they've also struggled with representation, especially in the executive ranks. The hiring of Kim Davis as Executive Vice President for Social Impact, Growth Initiatives, and Legislative Affairs is at least an encouraging sign that the league wants less declaration of principles, posturing, and more action. Number 3. The Skate in the Crease review. More than a dozen years before the coach's challenge was criticized for its glitches, the NHL had another video review headache on its hands. In 1997, the league began reviewing goals in which a player's skate was in the crease before the puck entered the net, after confusion reigned with the Dallas Stars, who won the 1999 Stanley Cup over the Buffalo Sabres. On a goal scored with Brett Hull's skate in the crease, the NHL eliminated the video review of crease violations less than 2 days later. Bettman called this one of his biggest mistakes as a commissioner. Number 2. The criminal owners. Hey, they can't all not be conmen. In 1997, Bettman thought that John Spano was going to be the savior of the New York Islanders, buying the team for $165 million, until it turned out that Spano was worth only $5 million. The NHL approved him as an owner in February. By July, Bettman was mediating a settlement as Spano relinquished control of the Islanders to their previous owner. In January 1998, Spano pleaded guilty to bank fraud and was eventually sentenced to 71 months in jail. The NHL also approved John Rigas as the owner of the Sabres in 1997, before having them take over the team in 2002 when he was arrested for fraud. It approved William Boots Del Biagio III as a minority owner of the Nashville Predators in 2007. 2 years later, Del Biagio was sentenced to 8 years in prison and stripped off his ownership for fraudulently obtaining loans in that purchase. There are other examples of misbehaving NHL owners too. Number 1. The Coyotes debacle. While Bettman's determination to make struggling markets work was laudable, the Coyotes situation was veered into disaster territory. It was valorous at first, with the NHL fighting then owner Jerry Moyes in 2009 to prevent him from using bankruptcy courts to circumvent the league's ownership approval process and sell the team to Canadian billionaire Jim Balsillie for the purposes of relocating it to Hamilton, Ontario. But after 7 ownership bids with varying degrees of success, the Coyotes are a losing team that's also losing money and doesn't have any solid prospects for any arena after Glendale, Arizona ended its lease agreement. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our videos in the future. Also, watch the 2 videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video.